Welcome back to Good Germs Off-Road Adventures, and we're digging into the what I like to call the Purple Rainforest Polaris Sportsman. Yeah, the owner's here. We're working on cleaning this thing up, and I'll show you kind of where we're at with it so far. Decided to use the back patio for it because, well, it's making a mess. But here's the owner, Jim. Put him to work. There he is. And it's coming clean for the most part, and you get a much better idea of why I'm calling this the Purple Rainforest Polaris Sportsman. I know he got a really good deal on this thing, like a really good deal on it, and it doesn't really need a lot. It's going to need, so far it looks like, some axles. Oh, there we go, there's water. No, all good. It's going to need some axles, some other odds and ends. It's going to replace the lower hub carrier bolts. You know that that's something I like to do. Probably going to be about it. We're going to change all the fluids. We'll probably get into that today. So stick around and we'll, I guess, talk you through this one. I'm not really sure why I filmed the whole intro of this video with the phone in an upright position. I think that's because I filmed it on a phone instead of a GoPro like I normally do, and whatever. Anyway, let's walk around this thing now that we've got it cleaned up. Jim went to town with the pressure washer, cleaned it up real good, and let's see what we think it's going to need. First off, I've discovered, and I didn't know this, and well, I'm sure the rest of you that have the mossy oak camoed vehicles know this. The purple is not the way it was supposed to be. Apparently it was the right color at one point in time, and I know this quad was rolled over at some point, so we've got a headlight pod that's the right color because it was replaced, but we have purple. And then I got to looking, any place that wasn't exposed, it's the right color. So I'm guessing that's just a result of sun fading. All right, well, we'll just start up here at the front. You know, first thing I notice up here in the front, this headlight, it's doing the wang dangle there. It's because it's missing the clip that holds it in place. You can see on this headlight, it's held in with that plastic clip. It's broken off. Pretty typical of these things. We'll see if he wants to replace it. He may not care. What else on the front? Let's get down low down here. The axles, we're going to replace those. I think I mentioned that. You can see a hole in the CV boot there, but an even bigger hole there. Apparently, the mice like to eat the CV boots and suck on the grease that's inside, and I'm pretty sure the joints are probably ruined, so it's going to get new axles. Front and rear, same thing on the rears as well. In the front, that's about it. I don't think there was anything else in the front that was alarming. One thing I noticed is we did not find any evidence of oil or coolant leaks anywhere from any piece of machinery, whether it was the engine, the transmission, or the front diff. Everything looks like it's holding on to its fluids. Don't know if there's fluids in it, but whatever's in there is probably still in there. Coming around to the back, and that's all stained. You know, this thing, I probably should have filmed on it before we got started, but everything down here was under about 1.5 to 2.5 inch layer of caked mud from one, if not two or more seasons of hunting in Colorado in the mud and, well, not getting cleaned. So a lot of staining on everything. So it's quite clean, but it's just stains that we're seeing. Rear shocks look good. I forgot to mention the front shocks looked good. I didn't see any signs of leaks. Again, we're doing the axles here. We're also going to go ahead and do those bolts. You know, like I've said before, probably in this video already, I've got a thing with those bolts. I've had them break on me, and ever since then, I can't look at one of these used without knowing I'm going to replace those bolts, because when those break when you're on the trail, you're down. What else? I think there's some breakage on the racks here. This was obviously bent at some point. Somebody cut it and welded it, or it broke. I don't know. Like I said, I know it was rolled at some point. I was thinking I was going to get into the valves, but when I checked the hours on it, it's only got like 117 hours. Nowhere near enough to be worried about the valves, I think. Front shocks look good. Everything's looking okay. So let's go ahead and start this. I think I've mentioned before. If not, I'll mention it again because I can't remember what I've talked about 10 minutes ago. This thing runs fantastic. And, well, I'll just start it and show you. Like I mentioned, this is the fuel injected model, so no choke to pull. Oh, that was on. That was dumb. Runs like you'd expect, which is perfect. But we do have an issue we're going to have to figure out, and that is with the four-wheel drive system. It is stuck, engaged, even when it's not supposed to be. So if you have a two-wheel drive, it's still wanting to run the front wheels. And when you put it in reverse in two-wheel drive, which we know it shouldn't run, it's still wanting to run the front wheels. So we're going to have to get into that. Let me show you. So right here you can see we've got two-wheel drive, and normally in reverse to do four-wheel drive, you have to put this in four-wheel drive, push the override, hold it to make the front wheels turn backwards. But we're just going to leave it in two-wheel drive, put it in reverse, and our front wheels are wanting to turn. So obviously that's something we're going to have to figure out. Either there's something wrong in the diff mechanically, hopefully not, or there's just something in the wiring somewhere that's just keeping it engaged for some reason. Probably not going to get that figured out today. I think for today, we're going to get the wheels back on it, get it back over in the shop, and get the fluids changed on it, and then see where that leaves us. Okay. Also, we're just sitting here talking about the four-wheel drive system and happen to notice this lovely crack in the brake rotor. So with this one being cracked, obviously we're going to check the others. Hopefully it's just this one. We can replace the one. Well, upon further inspection of all the brake rotors, all three are cracked. How does that happen? I have never, ever, ever seen in my life brake rotors on a quad ATV four-wheeler. I have never seen them crack. I mean ever. Is it something to do with hunting up in the snow and in the cold water, and the brakes are hot from using them, and then you dunk them in the cold water in the snow? Is that what it is? I don't know. Again, I've never seen it, so add that to the list. 3 brake rotors, and since we're doing rotors, might as well do pads. Well, as you can see, we've got the wheels and tires going back on this, and that can only mean one of 2 things. First of all, that could mean we're completely done. No, we're not done. The second thing it could mean is that we gave up and we're just going to put the wheels on and put it in the corner. That's mostly true. So let me talk you through it. Obviously, you saw it apart, wheels off. Did check all the brake rotors. I think that's where I left you. All 3 brake rotors are cracked. I don't know. Changed the engine oil, which smelled like gasoline, was consistent as water. Don't know why that is, but that's okay. New oil, new filter, and we changed the transmission fluid. And in case you're wondering what kind of oil I went, if you've watched the video of doing all this on the 700, I went with the same oil, and that's the Amali, I don't know what it's called, but we went with that. It's a synthetic, it's the proper weight, and it was way cheaper than Polaris oil. So there you go. Got to the front diff, drained it. Didn't look bad. Didn't see any chunks of anything. Nothing on the magnet really. Just a touch, just a hair. Pretty good. But went to go pull the fill plug out, and it decided it didn't want to come out. So we have no fluid in the front diff. So we're going to have to get a new fill plug, and I don't seem to have an extractor set. I keep seeing them on sale in places, and I keep thinking to myself, I should buy one of those, but I never do. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get one of those. All right. Okay, so we have to finish the front diff. Going to do the axles, brake rotors. Found some bushings that were mostly non-existent anymore. And what else was there? Oh yeah, it needs grips. We might have a wheel stud that's buggered. I don't know. It could just be a scratch on the threads. We'll figure that out when we get there. But I think that's really it. Oh, no, that's not it. 4-wheel drive. Got to figure out why that decides it wants to be on all the time. And I know earlier I was thinking, is it electronic? Is it electrical? Or is it mechanical? Well, with the quad ATV 4-wheeler turned off and you turn the rear wheels by hand, the front wheels turn. They shouldn't do that. And to test that theory, of course, I tried it over here on the 700. The front wheels, no, they don't turn. when they're not supposed to. So I'm leaning towards there's something mechanical in that diff that's making it stay engaged when it shouldn't. But we'll know more when we get there. When we do the axles, we pull the old axles out. We'll have some good access because we'll have the tires off and things out of the way. We'll have some good access to see what we can see. And if we have to pull the diff, take it apart, so be it. We'll cross that bridge, when the bird lands on it. Whatever the saying is. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me and Jim. There's Jim. And we'll see you later. Next video, we should be able to get most of this, if not all of this quad, which I have named the Purple Rainforest Quad. Sure. Till next time, ride safe. We'll see you later. Bye-bye now.